Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you an in-depth look into the Boxer. We're going to look at some of the problem areas on the car. I'll also be revealing the price I paid for it. We'll have a look at the costs and the prices associated with some of the parts that I feel are needed to get this through stage one of the project, which is getting this car back on the road. And then you guys get to decide whether or not you think I have just bagged myself an absolute bargain or I've just bought a basket case money pit. But before I do that, there's two very cool things I want to share with you. Firstly, I finally figured out our dilemma with the keys. I've got a full working set here, guys. I'm going to be going through those in a second with you. And secondly, it's very clear from the video comments, you guys really want me to wash the car. Your OCD is kicking in big time, but you don't want me to wash it, you want Ammo to wash it. Well, I've just got off a phone conversation with Larry and we are trying to work that out. Obviously there are some major hurdles in the way. We have travel restrictions and everything like that, but we are really trying to do something in some kind of capacity. So watch this space, we will make it happen. Anyway guys, grab yourself a nice cup of this stuff, kick back and enjoy. Oh, and of course, don't forget to smash that like button, click on that subscribe button and hit that bell notification. And I always love to hear your thoughts and suggestions, so make sure you write those in the comments below. And check this out, 2 days later I have a full set of working keys. Once again, those guys are brilliant. They received them yesterday, they worked on them, and now today everything is good again. So we got the door key. We also have the all-important, especially in Ferrari terms, fuel cap key. No fuel, and this baby is going to go nowhere fast. And then of course the one that's caused me the most problems of all is the ignition key. Brilliant. So we are back in business. Now all I have to do is put all of this back in here without damaging anything. With the car outside and blue skies, it's a good opportunity to have a walk around, and I'll talk through some of the parts I think that are needed to get this Ferrari through stage one of the build, which is just getting it operational and back on the road again. I've got my trusty Ferrari assessor's pad, so let's take a little walk and a closer deep dive into this car. Let's start off at the back of the car in the engine, where I think a big chunk of the money is going to be spent. As I go around and point out the parts that I think are needed for this first stage of the build, you might spot something that I'm missing that is vital. If you do, please put those in the comments below the video. Now each time I point out a part, I'm going to put a price associated with that somewhere in the screen. Now this is a little bit of a maths test for you guys to get those brain cells working. I'm going to put those prices in UK pounds. Here is the exchange rate for some other currencies. You can work them out as I go around the car. Engine wise, obviously the first thing is going to be a service kit. We're going to have to change things like filters, plugs. This car has been sat here for so long, it all needs to be changed. Then we're going to need stuff like timing belts, bearings for that, fuel, coolant, oil. We're going to need 2 fuel pumps probably. We might need the accumulators that also go down in that fuel system. Injectors, I might have to change all 12. We might get those cleaned up. Until we take them out, we don't know. Then there's things like these 2 fuel distributors, one there and one over here. The chances are they are going to need to be rebuilt. They are quite specialist, and I need someone really who knows what they're doing with those things. So any suggestions for somebody local to me in the UK, let me know in the comments below. Then what else have we got here? We've got obviously things like pipe work, seals, hoses, the tanks. We've got one tank over here, fuel tank over here. and then we've got one down here. They are going to be needed to be cleaned out, and they're going to have to come out when the engine comes out here. I was looking to see if there was any way of doing the timing belts with the engine in. Now this one here, there's a little bit of access down there, and as you know, if you follow the channel, I managed to do the impossible, which was do the timing belts on the 355 with the engine in it. However, if we come around the other side, this side, we have got an oil tank down here, and that means that none of this cover would come off. So unless I could drop that oil tank, it's going to be pretty tricky to do it. Next, we have these two front air boxes. Obviously we've got these rubbers, but these, let me have a look. First of all, we've got all the bobbins that hold these down. They've all perished, the little rubber in between those. So this one actually comes off, but if I show you here, this is looking rather rotten. So I think that's going to need to really be replaced. This is the rubber here, but this, look, it's very, very flaky now. If you remember in the video back earlier in the year, these were just absolutely full to the brim of moss, so it's no surprise. I thought this one was going to be okay, but if we take a closer look, again, it looks rotten. There's actually a hole in that part there, so both of them are going to need to be replaced. Then we've got the AC unit. Now my thoughts on that is that can wait. We're in the winter months here. I don't need AC, so that's an expense we can skip for the time being. We've got clutch, so we're going to need a clutch kit, most likely a release bearing, and I'll talk about the clutch in a later video. I have had a quick look around it. Remember, we've got a seized solid pedal on the clutch, so it's something we're going to have to do a little bit more investigation into. Flywheel, without seeing it, it's unknown whether that can be refurbished and cleaned up. Spark plugs and stuff like that all come as part of the service kit. What doesn't come in the service kit are these plug extenders that tend to have many problems, especially on 308s. But I've gone through all 12 of these on this car and they all look pretty good, so that might be an expense we can skip as well. Engine wise, really, that is all I can think of at the moment. Oh, one other thing was fuel sender units. The likelihood is, depending on what the state of play is with those tanks, they might need to be replaced as well. For the moment, regarding the engine, we are going to assume, probably naively, that it doesn't need a rebuild. I'm hoping it doesn't, because if it does, all of these prices are going to be minuscule in comparison. Let's take a look around the exterior of the car and some of the obvious things that are going to need to be replaced. We have the rear badge and the front badge. Both of those are missing on this car. The surround here, this panel around the rear lights, that is the obvious one that's rusted. That is really probably the worst bit of rust on the car, so we're going to have to do that one. This one, however, seems to be okay. So I think there's a little bit of surface rust on the inside of it, but it looks otherwise recoverable for sure. Maybe a badge, but I quite like the patina of this. That might stay. One other thing, oh yeah, down this side we have a dent here that I'm hoping my man Ollie can pull that one out. Wheels and tyres, well, the wheels are going to have to be refurbished. These bits here, these chrome kind of plates, they look okay. The spinners, I'm not sure, they're a bit rusty. Tyres, yes, they are unfortunately cracked. Now, they are holding pressure, no problem, but unfortunately the rubber is perished on those. So yeah, that's a full set. All four of those have got to be replaced on the car. Then we have the mirror glass here. Unfortunately, that has been broken since my first video, and that needs to be replaced. Fortunately though, I do happen to have a spare of those, so there's zero cost involved with that one. One annoying thing on this car, which I'm really upset about, is that this roof aerial has been added somewhere probably in the mid-80s when they put all that stereo system in the car. That needs to come out, but there's obviously going to be a hole drilled through the roof, so that is going to cause us a few problems. These are going to come off. Wheels again at the front. The nice thing about this car is all of the lights are good. All of our pop-up lights, all the side lights, front lights. Again, the badge, I might clean up, but I quite like the patina of this one. Grill's all okay. Front grille okay. Fog lights need to be changed because both of those, that one's got a crack, that one's got all the bezel around it, that's broken. Number plate, everything like that is all okay. Bumper looks good, there's no scrapes on it. We have a dent in the corner down here slightly. Pop-up lights, we've got rust here, that needs to be rectified. Rust is a separate cost altogether. That's all bodywork and paintwork potentially. Wiper blades, we're going to need to change those. Moving into the front, but before we do that, a good assessor always has a cup of coffee. So let's take a slurp. Okay, so radiators, they're going to need to be flushed. We don't know if these fans are working yet, so you need to check those out. Lights are all good. Water bottle's good. Windscreen wiper's good. The blades obviously need to be replaced. Here just needs a clean up really for stage one. The thing that we do not know is the brake booster, the servo over here, and also the master cylinder as well, for both the clutch and the brake pedal. They are seized solid at the moment, so we're going to need to do some investigation into those, and fingers crossed they don't need to be replaced, because that brake servo is extremely expensive. And then we have one final area that could cause some major problems on this car, and that is the dreaded rust. Now on the 308 project we had some horrendous discoveries of rust on this thing that I had to rectify, and I'm really hoping the BBI is not the same. So far though, the signs are very good. Exterior wise, this car has survived remarkably well. There's that obvious bit on the back of the car which is not a major problem. We can get the panel and that literally rivets in place. There is a little patch down here, but it just looks like it's surface, but otherwise it looks okay. Now there is an area of this car that I haven't really investigated, and that is the underside. So let's get the jack out, get it up in the air and take a closer inspection. Now down here, again, I'm very surprised. It looks pretty good. We got a little bit of surface rust here, but it's just, there's no holes or anything like that. It's just surface rust, flaky paint or under seal. Same here. This is probably the worst little patch. The other side, actually, I just had a look at, and it seems to be about the same, and nothing major here that concerns me at all. So that is happy days. Now again, the sill, look at all this, looks pretty solid. There is not any signs of rust on this one. We've got a little bit of stuff here, but that it's just dirt. So that's good. That is really good news. Car, like I say, has survived remarkably well considering it's been outside in the British weather for so long. Underneath the car we've got things such as the rear suspension, as I showed you at the front. The bushing, as you can see here, has perished. Fuel lines, we're going to need to look at those. Here's our brakes over here. We need to have a look at those things. Then we got stuff like the manifolds. They look a little bit rusty, but they all look solid, so we might be okay there. Frame is all good. I can't see any issues with the frame apart from some of the paint here just chipping off. No rust issues. A little bit of oil underneath the engine, that will all clean off. We've got the oil filters here. We've got two alternators on this car. They're an unknown, so hopefully they're okay. Moving back, we've got fuel filters, we've got fuel pumps up here, we've got all the fuel lines. That's all going to need to be looked into. But yes, everything back here again so far looks pretty good. Whilst we have the car up in the air, let's take the wheel off and have a look at the brake system. Easier said than done, trust me. The other day I got all 4 wheels off this car and it was an absolute nightmare. Let me explain why. To get the wheels off, you have to take these center spinners off. To get those off, you need to use a special hammer. This is the one that came with the car. It's a hide hammer. Now, I used that. As you can see, it's disintegrated. You knock this, you try not to knock the wheel, and I've got to admit, I knocked it a few times, but that seemed to really go down not very well. So we bought another one, and that one chewed up as well, and that is just literally getting the 4 off. Fortunately though for you, that's all done now, and I can literally turn that by hand. So we'll take these off and have a look at the brake system. I'm hoping we can refurbish these, get some of that rust off. It still has some very old grease on there. It comes off quite nicely, to be honest. Right, let's put that safely to one side. So what do we got here? Let's have a close inspection. Apart from the cobwebs, the disc is a little bit of surface rust. A little bit of surface rust on those vents there. Caliper covered in cobwebs, thick cobwebs. So that is probably going to need to be rebuilt. The discs, the rotors are maybe going to need to be changed. And then let me get a torch and we'll have a look at this front suspension. All the arches seem good, no issues there, that's cool. Suspension though, we're going to need to do the bushes, they're all perished back there. The shock, who knows with the shock, and the springs there, but the bushes definitely need to be replaced. All of this, brake lines, hoses, and steering rack, all of our track rod ends, everything there needs to be looked at. But mainly, nothing really too bad there. Let's get this out. Look at this cobweb, wow. Look at that. That's a few years worth of spiders in the car. Well, there you go guys, you've had the full tour of the car, inside, outside, underneath, front, rear clam, the whole shebang. And you've also heard my thoughts on the parts and the prices needed to get this through stage 1 of the build, just putting it back on the road. No doubt I've missed a few things there, and the prices and the costs are only going to go in one direction. The bit of information I haven't revealed is how much I bought this Boxer for. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I paid £80,000 for this car. Now with that in mind, and all the information I've just given you, what do you think? Was this a bargain, or was this barn find Ferrari an absolute bag of nails, money pits? Let me know in the comments below. I would also love to hear how much you guys think this is going to cost to get through stage 1, and then a second price for a nut and bolt restoration on this car in total. Well guys, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, smash that like button and hit that bell notification, because I am posting on this project a lot more frequently than I usually do. You can also check out my Instagram account where I post on this project and many of the other ones on the channel on a daily basis. Until the next time guys, have a great day. Ciao for now.